is Saturday, February 21st, and we are now under 5 days from the combine starting. That's kind of the next big, Dynasty off-season date or something. We got potential franchise tags can be placed. I don't think we've had any placed, at least any fantasy relevant guys that I've, unless I missed something there. But they have until March 3rd, which is not that far away, a little over a week now. So and then basically 2 weeks away from free agency, the legal tampering period or whatever they want to call it.
That stuff's always exciting.
Yeah, that's where a lot of a lot of the big names will go. And that I think it's March, 2 days before the official league year starts on the 11th, and the 9th and 10th you can start basically making deals. Although there was it JD McKissick who had a deal to go to Buffalo, and then during that period, and then he changed his mind or something. So I guess they could change their mind if they want to. But I have a trivia question for you to start off here. What do Dallas Goedert, Juwan Johnson, Hunter Henry, and Dalton Schultz all have in common? There's kind of two things.
Well, they're all tight ends. Nailed it.
Okay, there's three things they all have in common.
Does it have something to do with touchdowns?
No, it's a little bit more simple than that.
Top 12 tight ends the last couple of seasons.
So they were all four of those guys were top 10 last year in total points. Okay. And they're all tight end 20 or worse in keep trade cut rankings. So
give those names again.
Dallas Goedert. So in order, Dallas Goedert was the tight end 7, Juwan Johnson tight end 8, Hunter Henry tight end 9, Dalton Schultz tight end 10. They Dallas Goedert he averaged over 12 points a game, which I think was top 5 or something. Tight end 6. And then those other guys basically averaged 10.5 a game. Juwan Johnson, Henry, and Schultz. And they're all outside the top, or Dallas Goedert is ranked the highest according to Keep Trade Cut as tight end 20. And then Hunter Henry, tight end 25. Schultz, tight end 27. Juwan Johnson, tight end 28. So, kind of crazy in my opinion.
That goes right into what you've been saying for a few years now. Just tear down your tight end guys. Get one of those guys, get a guy that's that low, trade off of Jake Ferguson, and tear down, get something significant.
Yeah.
Like a second or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, Brenton Strange is a big one too. It's he's tight end 14. And I get it because okay, he's 25 years old, but I don't think Brenton Strange is this special player. Or anything like that. Those guys were much better than him. The guys I mentioned, the over a point or about a point per game better than him, with Hunter Henry and Schultz and Juwan Johnson. I don't know. I think it's the tight end position is always a little crazy like that. And there's an argument. It's Goddard's going to be, probably I think he's right around 32 when the season starts. Hunter Henry will be right around 32. Dalton Schultz will be 30. Juwan Johnson will be 30. Tight ends can play a little bit later into the season, and there's always going to be these 30-year-olds that you can just kind of rinse and repeat with, in my opinion. Jake Ferguson's probably going to turn into that here soon. He's 27. He'll be that in a couple years that you can start doing that with, So, tear down options for sure.
Obviously, you have to wait a little to know if this is a practical thing to do, but, getting Kelsey on your team, if you're a contender, especially if he's on a non-contending team, they will be ecstatic to be able to move him, and then he's basically a set it and forget it guy. Tight end 9 last year per game in half PPR.
Yeah, I could have thrown him into that list. Oh no, I guess total points he was tight end 3, so he wasn't technically in that list, but he's tight end 41 on keep trade cut. Now a lot of that is just because we weren't sure if he's going to come back. Still not sure if he's going to come back. Should find out here soon because he's a free agent. So yeah, but it sounds like he's going to come back. So but yeah, if you guys are watching, make sure to hit the like button for us. Always helps get more eyes on the video. And if you have any questions, topics you want to talk about, we're kind of just keeping this open. Nothing really specific to talk about here too much. So if you guys have any trade questions, buy lows, whatever type of stuff, please drop them in the chat, and we will 100% answer those for you. So going to start setting up the new listener league here. So that will be fun. Hopefully I want to be drafting in March. Also need to set up our rookie drafts timing. So I think we're probably going to try and do that. So the NFL draft is like the 25th or whatever that weekend is. I think it's like right around the 25th or something.
Of April?
Of April, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, it's usually in April. For some reason, I thought it was earlier, usually. And maybe it is. I don't know. Or maybe it was. Yeah, so 23rd through the 25th. Featuring 257 picks over 7 rounds. Thanks, Gemini.
257?
That's what it says.
I thought there was 256.
I don't know. That's just actually the NFL operations.nfl.com does actually say the same thing. Okay. Hosted in Pittsburgh for the first time since 1948.
Nice. Yeah, so we're probably going to do our rookie drafts. We're going to be a little busy there at least one of those weeks, so we might be doing them pretty early in May, and stuff. But we will we'll see about that.
So did the Seahawks have the very last pick of the draft?
They should.
I guess they could have traded it, right?
Yeah, there's a very good chance they did trade it. A lot of times those get traded. I actually never knew. So there's 4 teams that finished 3-14. And I don't know if this applies to all teams that finished with the same record in the first round. So I always assumed Raiders had the worst record. They have the number 1 pick, so they have the number 1 pick of the second round, number 1 pick of the third round. Apparently, it's not like that. Like the next team, I think the Jets will have the number 1 pick of the second round. I blew my mind. I don't know if this is a new rule or not, but I just thought the Raiders had the first pick of every round, essentially, unless they traded it. And that's not the case. Again, I don't know if that's for just the top, the 4 teams that, or whatever teams finished with the worst record, or if that's for every team, like Cleveland and Washington finished 5-12. Do they swap positions in this round? So that kind of blew my mind a little bit there.
Yeah, I didn't think that was the case before. Well, shit, I don't know. So I see the Titans had the first pick last year. Obviously, the Browns had the first pick in. It doesn't say they traded it. And then the Giants had the first pick in the third round.
Then they all finished the same record?
I don't know that. But
yeah, because this year, the Raiders pick first and then 36th, which is 3, 4, 5. That's the 4th pick of the.
I don't know how I've never noticed that, but it totally does swap. So basically, the Giants pick last year was the first in rounds 3 and 6.
Yeah, this is all.
Maybe they had the 3rd best record or something like that. Yeah, and the Titans had it in 1 and 4.
Yeah, so the Giants. No, that's not right. The Browns were 3-14, Titans 3-14. Yeah, those teams were 3-14. Giants were 3-14. Yeah, so they would have like done the swapping and stuff. Yeah, never knew that. Never knew that. Again, I don't know if that's a new thing or something, but it's new to me. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't really change much, but
yeah, not really. Question for you. Going back to the tight end stuff, since we don't have any questions yet, or maybe at all today. So we talked about tearing down, from a Jake Ferguson, or something like that. What about these higher end guys? And I'm not talking Brock Bowers or Trey McBride, but what about the 3 rookies from last year that were impactful at different points? Warren, Loveland, and then Fannin. I was like, why did I forget the third one? Like, what about tearing down from those guys? Like, obviously, you're going to need more given their age and that we've already saw it in their rookie year. But how likely are you to tear down from those guys to like someone kind of in that range? Like, you're going to need a haul, right? But how comfortable are you? Or do you want to just keep a Colston, Loveland, and then hopefully you have a tight end for the next 7 years that will be top 12?
Yeah, if I was going to tear down, I mean, McBride and Bowers to me are just down on a different level. Like those guys are number one, top 5 wide receivers, especially in tight end premium leagues. Now, non-tight end premium leagues, 100%. I'm looking to tear down from those guys. If we pull up the war of our league where there is no tight end premium. I'm going to pull that up right now, but you can see like even Trey McBride was not that valuable last year, or as valuable. Obviously, he's valuable because the difference of positions, right? You got to sometimes just look at it within the position, and he was just so much better. Tight end premium leagues, I don't want to tear down from those guys for the most part. Again, I'll always listen and stuff. I think just those guys are those guys are ridiculous, man. They're going to catch 110 balls like every year. It seems like, that kind of potential. My biggest question is like Loveland, Warren, Fannin. Like, one, should Fannin be closer to like Loveland and Warren? And if no, like why isn't Fannin being looked the same as Loveland and Warren, right? Because he was better than I think both of those guys last year. And as a rookie, same age and everything. Like he's younger than Warren. And then like Kraft and Laporta and Pitts. Now Pitts I think is a little bit, you got to see where he goes, but like, Laporta was right up there not too long ago. And then like Tucker Kraft, had he stayed healthy, would he be up there? So I don't know if you have thoughts on those guys. But yeah, to answer your question, I don't really want to tear down from McBride and Bowers unless like I'm, obviously unless it just makes sense. It's hard to like say I don't want to, but I'm not really actively looking to do that, I guess.
No, you didn't listen to my question because that's not what I asked you. I said I was talking about specifically the rookies from last year. I said not McBride or Bowers, like those guys. Like I was talking about the Warren, the Fannin, and the Loveland, like tearing down from them to, like a Dallas Goedert or something like that. Like, how likely are you to do something like that? Like, it's going to be tough because, I mean, you paid a first round pick for a couple of those guys. Like, it almost seems like cashing in on like a Fannin who you probably got in the 3rd round. But like, do you even want to do that for a first and Dallas Goedert? Like you're definitely like taking the profit, but how likely are you to do that? Or are you do you want a first and a second? And then it's like a no doubt about it, you're trading them non-tight end premium.
So I don't really want to tear down from Brock Bowers. No, I'm just kidding.
God damn.
Yeah. So I think it does tie into the fact, like, do we think like what are the odds of like those players getting to that McBride and Bowers level, right? Um, a first, and I don't know, the fall off to Goddard is a little bit high, only because like look at how people are valuing him too, right? It's not because I think the production's going to be that far from like versus like a Loveland to a Ferguson or something, right? I don't think the production between Ferguson and Goddard. I mean, Goddard could be better than him, and I wouldn't be shocked, right? But you got to also take into account how people are going to value those guys and what you can potentially get for them if you're trying to trade them. In tight end premium leagues, I don't think so, unless you told me like, I mean, if it was like a 27 first and it was like a true random first, then yeah, I would.
Just one first for fan.
What's that?
Just one first for fan.
And one of those tier down guys? Or
Yeah.
Just straight up
Yeah,
first? Yeah, I think I would do that. Unless like I was like certain that was going to be like the 112. But then again, even in next year's draft, I might be okay with that.
Okay, so what about for Loveland or Warren? Because like I was saying, like you probably paid a mid, well, maybe even mid, but like more likely in a non-tight end premium, probably a later first, you know, picks 8 through 12 or something. You probably spent one of those picks. I mean, realistically, both of those guys were gone basically picks 8 through 16, right? Like I can't imagine they went any later than that, but so you already spent a early pick, you know, one of your like one of those picks on them last year. Like, so it seems like you would need more, right?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think I would need more because I do think, especially with Loveland, like I think there's a chance Loveland out of all those guys that not named McBride and Bowers, I think I'd put money on like Loveland being potentially the guy to get into that tier. I don't think it's likely, but I think he would be the guy that I would put money on doing that. And so like I'm going to take that into account a little bit. Yeah, I'll take into account like what I spent on him. So yeah, probably a little bit more. I think you're right. Probably a little bit more. Now it does change. Like if you're telling me I'm getting someone like a Mason Taylor or Terrence Ferguson, you know, rookies from last year that didn't really do too much, I think it changes it a little bit because obviously those guys are younger and they can easily move up the board, you know, versus like a Goddard's never. I mean, Goddard, how long has he been tight end 20 to 25 or something? Like since we started making content, basically, he's always been ranked there, you know, despite being top 12. So
you could get a decent little spike for him too if AJ Brown leaves, and if he doesn't, then all the more reason to buy him at his current value.
Yeah, and Goddard's a free agent too.
Right. Yeah, I'm saying if Goddard stays and AJ Brown goes.
Yeah.
So
that's a nice thing with like someone like a Goddard. It's like he could leave. A lot of times when people leave their teams, we're a little bit worried. I don't think we are. If anyone, you know, if AJ Brown leaves the Eagles, if Goddard leaves the Eagles, it's probably going to be better, most likely. Maybe, I don't know.
Man, this thing is like, sorry, keep trade cut is. I'm just looking at the fantasy graph of all time of Goddard's value. And it's just so slow to respond. I don't know what's going on. They run a lot of ads on there, so not necessarily the best website for up to date. But I mean, he was still tight end 8 in October of 23. There's a very flat, like there's like a mesa kind of leading up to that. Where he's kind of in that top 10, basically, sometimes a little higher, but kind of around there. All the way up until basically 2023, and then that's where he starts dipping well into the, if it responds that's where he's like tight end, like teens, like late teens even, and then there's like little spikes here and there because they're like, oh yeah, he's good, I forgot, you know. Like there is
funny because like it must be just injuries, right? Like
it's partially that, but I mean, he spikes back up from tight end 20 to tight end 10. Like it says, October 24 is when he was tight end 10, and that's the highest he's been basically for the last 2.5 years. So, and right now he's what did you say, 17 or something like that? Like, it's pretty significant.
Tight end 20.
Man, I wonder if you could like make a ton of profit trading Dallas Goedert like a stock, just buying him for a third every like 18 months, and then I don't know,
and selling him.
Yeah, and then selling him for a second, like a few months later. I don't know. That's probably not that practical, given his age, but I'm just thinking about like short selling Dallas Goedert, treating these guys like commodities. Anyway, sorry. You want to answer Kevin's question, or you want to keep going?
No, you're fine. I will, but there's just always going to be those players though that, like, even though they're performing well, people don't want them. I mean, you had that issue with Sutton there for a couple years, where it's like he's producing, but he's not tradable.
He's not desirable. Couldn't get a second for him to contending teams before the playoff deadline. Not this past year, but the previous 2 years. Yeah. And he helped me win my championship this 2025 season. So whatever. Yeah. That's it just kind of goes to show you too, like, definitely like people's values are a part of it, but also like I've definitely been told, well, you might as well trade him to me because you're not going to get anything better and he's not going to be worth anything. And it's kind of like, well, fuck you, buddy. I'm not trading you Joe Flacco for a 4th round pick to a contender. Like, I was like, you figure out how to win without him. I'll figure out how to win without your shitty pick, don't try and like tell me like how good your pick is or how it's like the only thing I'm going to get or whatever. And that definitely happened in a few leagues where it's like, oh, I did end up getting nothing for that guy, but guess what? The other guy also could have done a lot better or won with that guy. So, yeah,
I think I can expand on this after we get to these couple of questions.
Sure.
But like age and dynasty, like I think we need to really reevaluate things a little bit. Kevin, so your team review, I mean, you're basically going to get, I looked at our last live team review video. It went for an hour and 19 minutes. So it was definitely over an hour long, maybe 5 minutes of introducing and talking and then stuff like that. So, I mean, you're going to get probably an hour long video. I always say like, 30 to 45 minutes, and it turns into an hour. So you're going to get a pretty in-depth. We're going to look at your team. We're going to use the war chart, both on Dynasty Daddy and kind of the more comprehensive one, where it kind of breaks down. This is one of my leagues that I'm in, our first Dynasty league here. It kind of breaks down like the value of each position based off your specific settings in your league. And so we'll kind of show you how you can take advantage of that. Like in this league, running backs, because it's a half PPR, 0.1 per carry, running backs are kind of king in this league. They're a lot more valuable. It's a non-tight end premium. So you can see, Trey McBride, even though he was, maybe one of the greatest tight end seasons we've ever seen, wasn't quite, he was like equal to, wide receiver 5, equal to, like RB 16 or something, 15, 16. So kind of takes those settings into account, shows you where you like, because people are always, no matter what their settings are, they're always going to value like wide receivers and quarterbacks. Maybe it's changing a little bit because of how the NFL is changing with running backs. But, even if in your league, wide receivers aren't that valuable, people are still going to value them as like safer assets, which isn't necessarily wrong. But, as you can see here, you need quarterbacks to win or running backs to win. And then, we can also, with this tool, kind of look at all the teams and stuff in your league. We can see like where everyone's at, and kind of Brian's really good at looking at, teams and specific players to make trades for. So we kind of give you like the philosophy of like, this is what you should try and do. and with your players, this is who to sell high, buy low, and then we'll look at some specific trades and stuff like that, and then you can always contact us or come on a live stream and say, hey, should I make this trade and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, so you basically get very specific context for your team because we can see your entire league. That's really the main difference, honestly. Like, you can always ask us the kind of the basic stuff for free right here. Not that the team review is very expensive anyways. But I mean, you can get most of, like, just from like listening to us and interacting with us right here on the videos. Like, you'll get a lot of like your questions answered already. It's kind of like a pseudo super chat kind of a thing. You're like, oh, you're throwing us $20 because you like to look at our faces or something. But we will get into depth, like Mike said, about looking at specific trade partners. Like, oh, this guy is really bad. Like, he should be rebuilding. Go get these players from him.
Mm-hmm.
And also, or maybe you're that team. Hopefully not, but I don't know. We'll give you that kind of advice. Or even like, oh, this guy really, like, you're both kind of contenders. He needs a quarterback. You need running backs or something like that, and we'll kind of try and identify those types of guys for you. But for the most part, you can get 75% of or we'll say 50% of what you would get in that video just by interacting with right here on the chat. So,
yeah. And then the biggest difference, you get your own video, and we basically spend the entire time talking about your team, in which we're not going to necessarily do. We're not going to spend an hour talking about like your team on just like a regular live stream. So we could do it live, and you can kind of interact with us as we go, or we can just pre-record it for you. Like, I don't know if anyone in your other leagues actually watch us and you don't want that information out there, and them getting free information from what you paid for. Which is a real thing. So we can do either one of those, whatever you would rather do. So
that's kind of funny to think about. Like, oh yeah, you don't want that information out there. It's like, what are the actual odds of like your league mate or like one of them listening to this and using that information against you? Like, we're not exactly like, we don't have like thousands of followers or something. I know it could happen. But do we have more than 2,000 now? I thought we're at like 600 or something.
I guess, technically not thousands plural. It's 1.5.
Well, I guess 1,500 or something like that. It's more once you get. All right, here's a question. Once you get to 1,001, like,
is it thousands?
Yeah, is it thousands?
I don't know. I've actually thought about that before, though. Like, is it? I don't know. I don't think it.
Because I'm just thinking about writing it as like a decimal, like it's 1.001, and so that's more than one. It's because one is 1,000, and so anything more than that should be plural. I don't know. Let us know in the comments.
I have that issue with when I type like 1.5 hours. Yeah, right. Is it hours or is it?
Yeah, it is. So there you go. It is plural. So it is okay. Yeah, I like where this is going. So we do have thousands.
There you go. But if you do want the private video, we can. We've done that before. So for people and
why is it a pair of scissors? It's one thing. No,
right. And the pants and stuff. Well, the pants like they actually like sew them together, right? Or they used to, or whatever. Or I mean, they still do, but
I don't know. Yeah. Oh, so is like the leg
is a pant?
Is a pant?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it is because they used to like. It's something about like I don't know. Maybe they sold them individually or something. Like, oh, here's one pant leg.
What about underwear? It's like a pair of underwear.
True.
Maybe that's the same thing.
Yeah, that's even more confusing. I get the scissors and
I guess because it is like two things, right? So it's like this thing a scissor.
A scissor, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. See, this is the kind of shit you also get in your video, Kevin. Like, we will talk about scissors and stuff.
Actually, I don't know. I think we're more likely to do it just on here when we don't have as much to talk about. So, but if you want that, we'll definitely add that in there.
Talk about your favorite prehistoric or fantasy animals mascots.
Yeah, seriously.
Toronto Raptors. I don't know. Is that a thing still?
They are still a thing, yeah.
Okay.
And they go for the dinosaur raptor rather than the bird raptor, you know.
Oh yeah,
Raptors are cool.
you absolutely need to lean into that. I don't know why there aren't more like dinosaur based teams. All right, we can get in. We'll save that gold for Kevin's video.
Yeah. Joseph says he has the 101, 102, and the 106 in the league. I was last in most points for. Okay. 200 points less than the other guy. I had 0 running backs and no QB2. I have 4 first and 27. Do I forego Mendoza at the 102 for a wide receiver to keep max points for low?
I would take
I'm
him.
try to flip the 106 for a 27 or 28 first plus. Yeah, I think I would probably still take Mendoza. He would be in consideration for me, so I would still go best player available, whatever you felt that was. So if you did feel like that was wide receiver 1, then yeah, go for it. If you feel like it's Mendoza, go for it. Just because like it also gives you flexibility next year too, you know, like you're not going to feel the need to, if you just take best player available, you're not going to feel the need to like draft a position next year because you didn't draft one this year. So I think Mendoza's in the conversation at the 102. So
yeah, who's your QB? Who's your QB1? Right? Because he says he has no QB2. So obviously you want to get to 3. It sounds like you're not going to really try and compete too much, or not that you're not going to try, but you know what I'm saying. QB1 is Josh. Okay, so yeah, that's a strong. Honestly,
Josh Johnson.
I imagine Josh Allen. He just says Josh.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought you just hadn't seen the comment yet. Like you got me.
Sorry, I threw you off.
No, it's okay. I was just gonna. I mean, Josh Allen is basically 1 1/3, 1.5 quarterbacks already, kind of a thing. So your QB2 doesn't need to be as great. So I like what he says there about if he takes Mendoza, he'd probably trade the 106 for Stroud. I don't mind that at all. If you can get Stroud for the 106, I would smash accept that. Like, not because I think he's like elite talent or anything, but he's a QB2 at worst, Yeah. And yeah, you kind of solve that problem right here. And then, like Mike said, you're going into next year with 4 firsts, and that just gives you so much flexibility. What if Stroud goes off and you're able to like trade off of him, or even you start getting a haul for some of those other picks because you have a quarterback monopoly now.
Yeah. I would also, and Joseph, you might not know this now, but so you're sitting there at the, again, 101, 102, 106. I still think there's a very good chance at the 106 you get wide receiver 3. And for a lot of people, wide receiver 3, 1, 2, and 3 are kind of in the same tier, So I think Mendoza at the 102, and if you don't trade 106, all you need is either, another quarterback to go, maybe RB2 going in there, or like if it's a tight end premium league, like Kenyon Sadiq goes in there, and then you get wide receiver 3, who for a lot of people could be their wide receiver 1. So that might also be a play to do there too.
The combine and the draft both are gonna push some of these guys up. The combine especially is gonna happen, and then depending on landing situation, people are gonna start getting excited. So I think I agree with you that 106 it's only gonna go up in value. But if, like I said, if you can get Stroud for a single like mid first in this year, I do that right now. Me personally, I think you're probably there too, I would assume.
Yeah, not to say it's not like a risky move or anything, because Stroud is weird. Like, he's just regressed a lot. Like, I don't know. I don't really remember a situation where this guy was like in talks as as one of the best rookie seasons ever at the quarterback position, not just from numbers, but he won a playoff game and stuff and turned the Texans around and stuff like that. And to just what is he? Is it offensive line? Is it, he needs another weapon besides Nico, which hopefully he has.
Back, man.
Yeah, Tank Dell was, there his rookie year, right? So, and Tank Dell was awesome his rookie year, and he had two kind of elite wide receivers. Like when Dell was playing, he was elite.
Yeah.
And then Nico Collins, and he hasn't really had that since. Schultz has been fine. Jaden Higgins had a solid rookie year, but nothing crazy. So
they had no fucking run game basically this year. It was all on the back of their defense, right? Why they were as good as a team as they were, and that can lead to problems for the quarterback as far as it's the defense. They're keeping it close. It's not like they have to start slinging it, there's different kinds of ways that can affect it. I was gonna say, because you asked when's the last time we saw that. I immediately, and I'm actually starting to look this up, I immediately thought of a Texans quarterback from yesteryear in Deshaun Watson, right? I felt like his might have been more injuries than anything, but you remember how good he was early in his career. And then it seemed like because the Texans were so shit in general as a team that he could never get anything going. I felt like I saw him running for his life quite a bit early in his career.
He was QB1 in 2020, or he was a top 5 quarterback in 2020. And then
I see 18, 19, 20. He was top 5 all 3 years. Now the formats, this is in Zeus League, so I just use that as a real quick thing to pull it up. But I mean, he was throwing for basically, it was 4,100, 3,800, 4,800, and 26 or more touchdowns, plus over 400 rushing yards on the ground every year. So, look how good he was. And then,
I think it was
hand jobs later, he's he can't play anymore. It's that's
I think
what happened. But
the issue with that was because 2021 he wanted to get traded out of Houston, and they basically played hardball with him and said no. And then the sexual harassment allegations came out, and he was basically he didn't play in 2021. He was on their
Right.
He was on their 53-man roster, but was just ruled out every game. And then he got suspended right in 2022, and he didn't play until late into 22. He essentially went 2 years without playing, and then he gets injury. So I mean, it's definitely someone that did fall off. Maybe easier to figure out why than Stroud,
I guess the season or the reasons are completely different because we can identify those pretty reliably. But it also it's not like he was, well, I guess he wasn't completely terrible. I was going to say in the games where he played in those years, it kind of, I feel like I have that painted in my head, but it's hard to start to put up really good numbers in only 6 games or something. Some guys do it as backups, we saw Jacoby Brissett come in. Obviously he played more than 6 games, but teams weren't necessarily schemed up for him for the season, and then they didn't necessarily know it was going to be him week in and week out for a little while anyways.
So to answer your question, Joseph, I would go with who you think is I wouldn't base anything off of what next year or tanking for next year is. I mean, you said you have 427 firsts. I mean, only one of those is yours.
Yeah, and he's got 3 in 28 also.
So you kind of tanking is only affecting one of those in 27, and those other 3, who knows? And you can kind of in season tank. I don't know if you have any veteran players or So I would still just go best player available.
To
what you
that
believe it is.
effect, you can make 3 out of those 4 picks worse or better picks for you by beating them, right? Like
Yeah.
so, like you can look at it that way also. I mean, it's good to be honest with yourself. You're like when I first read, oh, you're only 200 points below. Like I was like, oh, then the next guy. So the guy that has the 102 was 200 points better than you. I mean, that's only what about 10 points a week, a little bit more, I guess. I'm assuming that's through week 14, but that's not insurmountable. Especially with no QB2 or running backs. Like if you literally have 0, I mean, there's your points right there, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, did we answer his question? I think so.
Yeah, I mean, his question again was, do I forego Mendoza at the 102? And my answer is, if you believe Mendoza should be the 102, that's who you should take. So if you believe it's the first wide receiver, whoever that is for you, then I'm totally fine not taking Mendoza. So it's I think Mendoza comes into the conversation at the 102. I don't know if I'm gonna, I don't know how many 102s I have, or if I even have any, but I might change it up a little bit and stuff like that. But I think he absolutely falls into that 102 category, just because, again, the positional scarcity and stuff of it all. Not that he's like a perfect prospect or anything. The pick that was 102 this year, I also have their 27 and 28 first. Okay, so yeah, I mean, you not tanking could push them to be the 101 because you beat them once or twice or something, right? So that's good to know. You could have like the 101, 102 there. So, and again, I don't think Mendoza is going to have this amazing rookie year either. That's necessarily going to turn you from the 101 to a playoff team. Honestly, you could argue that one of those receivers might do more for you than that. Like, it would be shocking. No, but maybe not, because you're basically saying like you'd be starting a non-quarterback in your super flex versus a quarterback. So probably Mendoza helps you more than one of those guys, but I don't think it's necessarily like for sure. Picks 103 to 105 don't need a quarterback, so I can try. I was going to ask that too, like kind of where you think the 103 to 105 is going to go.
I mean, Mendoza has to be one of those picks no matter what. Like if you pass on him, even to a team who doesn't need a quarterback, I can't really see a scenario where he doesn't go with the 3, 4, or 5. And maybe I'm wrong, but like it could depend. I mean, it could definitely happen, but I feel like that's highly, highly unlikely, especially them knowing you need a quarterback. Like it's almost like the impetus is on you to have to trade back up to get them at a certain point. But I mean, you can kind of flip that the other way. You can trade the 102 to the guy with the 3 or the 4 and try and get something, thinking that oh, here you can have your choice of receiver. Probably harder to do with the 103 guy because he's probably going to be like, oh, well, you're going to take Mendoza, so I'll still get my receiver. But maybe the 4 or the 5 guy, you trade it to them and see if you can get him Mendoza later. I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't be. I mean, I think there's a chance it happens just because like every Superflex video I put out, people comment, I think Mendoza's closer to the 105. A lot of people felt that way about Cam Ward. I think Cam Ward, in a couple of leagues, went in like the 105. And so, it just takes someone to not take him at the 105 to him to be there at the 106. So
I definitely got a lot of shit for taking Cam Ward at the 102 in one of our leagues. They were like, What the hell? Like, what's wrong with you?
Or another thing is, can you trade back to the 104 from the 102 if you don't think someone's going to take Mendoza? You kind of say like, maybe you can say, hey, I'm going to take wide receiver 1 here at the 102. Do you want to trade up for it? And go to the 104, and then you get Mendoza on top of something else. I mean, that would be the most ideal thing, I think,
to
trade back.
that's what I was just saying. Like you could kind of go backwards on that.
Mhm.
Like if you weren't going to take Mendoza, like I that's what I was saying. Like it's almost like on you to like trade back up to ensure you get him, but do the opposite of that also. Like yeah, trade. Like I was saying, the 103 is probably going to be harder to get for the 102 because they're going to assume you're just going to take Mendoza, so they'll still get their choice of receiver, essentially. But if the 104 or 5, you should be able to get something of significance, even if it's like a 28. Are you doing it for like a 28 second?
If I'm fine with just like whoever I get at the 104, sure.
Yeah.
Like if I'm like, I get Mendoza or I get wide receiver 2.
I just realized, yeah, Joseph just asked basically what would you do it for, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would do it for a set. You said you already have too many picks, but like if they're 27 and 28, you can kind of figure that out in 27 and 28. I don't think you could ever have too many picks.
Yeah, that's future Joseph's problem.
Yeah, and those can be traded away for players. Can you get, a solid young piece that maybe hasn't performed yet, or even a veteran player that you think could give you points that you can maybe trade pretty easily, like a veteran player that you can trade easily during the season?
Are you doing it for some of the second-ish round guys taken last year? Jack Besh. Why the hell am I blanking on the Broncos guy? Pat Bryant. Any of the running backs that went there? Is that enough for you to move back 2 or 3 spots? I mean, that's a significant jump from the 102. Like the 102 is pretty valuable still, like consensus wise.
Yeah, I think I would probably want a little bit more.
Yeah,
either it's just as like a pick or something. Whether or not like you're fine with just like who you get at the 104, and you might just take them at like the player you're taking at the 102, because like ideally it's like, well, I'm taking Mendoza at the 102, but I'm going to get him at the 104. Literally anything is better, right?
If you know that's going to happen, which that's impossible to actually know, right? Unless you're basically talking specifically to the people, and then it's not exactly collusion, but you shouldn't be talking to the other people about like, well, I'm going to just take this anyway. So like they shouldn't be telling you that, and you shouldn't be telling them that.
What quarterbacks do these teams have, Joseph? Like, let's say, who does the 103 have at the quarterback position team? I'm just curious, like, because if they only have 3 guys, I still think like Mendoza should be like, if you're like 4 deep and you're very confident in those 4, then I can see passing. But like one injury, you have 3 guys, 1 injury, you're not very deep, like it doesn't take much. And usually in 12-team leagues, if this is 12-team, it's maybe a couple teams have like more than 3. Stafford Goff Award. Okay. So
if I was that team, I would be taking Mendoza.
Yeah, unless he I would consider it at least. I never fault people for saying like, no, I think this wide receiver prospect is elite, and I want to take him over, this quarterback prospect that I think is going to be like QB 15-ish.
I hold it against them.
Yeah. So he has 3 for next year, right? But is there a world where obviously Stafford retires and Ward just sucks, and then you're like, oh, I have Goff,
and the Lions move off from Goff? No, I'm just kidding. Obviously, I mean that's going to happen eventually. Like if they keep falling short, I mean they didn't even make the playoffs this year. It's not like Goff's the problem, but they're going to have to retool to some degree. Like don't hear what I'm not saying. That's not likely to happen over the next 2 years.
Yeah. Who is your wide receiver 1, Joe? Do you have like a wide receiver 1 in this draft, or is it kind of you want to see how the draft actually plays out? Because like I do think the play is to try and trade back to the 104, whether you get Mendoza or not. Because if like you're still getting your wide receiver 1 potentially, because no one's agreeing on who wide receiver 1 is at the 104 with extra pieces, Tate or Lemon, depending on landing spots. Okay, so
okay, Mike. So assume that the 104 also has the 204. Is that enough for you to move back 2 spots?
I think so. if I'm truly comfortable with like who I'm going to get at the 104. If I kind of want to go wide receiver, but I feel like I should take Mendoza, and then like I let kind of fate play its hand there a little bit, and so I think the 204 is fine because I still think the 204 could be a solid pick. I'd probably prefer like a 27 second, even if like it's the potential like 208 or something is probably going to be better than the 204 in this year's draft, but I'm fine with that.
So that's actually kind of interesting, Joseph. So, Kevin, if you're still here, this is how you get a free team review, basically, right? You just ask us a bunch of questions.
When there's not
a lot
of questions.
I agree with you, Joseph. Like, if approach the 104, see if they're interested in moving up to locking that in, which it sounds like they probably have a decent chance of doing that. And then they take Mendoza, and then you get Tate or Lemon. And if you're saying it depends on landing spot, like you're still getting basically, you could be getting your wide receiver one still pretty easily while cashing some in for some capital, more picks that you don't want.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that is the approach to do. And you can even talk to the 103. If you think the 103 really wants wide receiver one, you can be like, hey, I'm going wide receiver here, whether you are or not. Just like, yeah, I'm going wide receiver here, so come lock it up. And then you that's like you for sure get Mendoza on top of something else. And you could do that for even more, like even less, right? You could do it for a Besh because it's like, oh, I'm still getting Mendoza. I'm just getting a free Jack Besh or something,
Yeah. Get a third also. No, just keep throwing stuff in there.
So going back to the dinosaur mascot thing, this is, like
you said, you gotta save that. You gotta save that. That's too good. No one listens this far into the show.
Okay. Well, I wanted to say what like I asked ChatGPT, and obviously the Raptors come up. And then the next two is like Rocky the mountain lion, not a dinosaur, but often confused in mascot discussions. Like, what does that even?
Well, yeah, because you're fucking perpetuating it, Gemini or whoever. Like, you're not solving the problem there?
And then Pierre the pelican, not a dinosaur, but sometimes mentioned in similar conversations. It's like, what is?
Because it's a bird.
I guess, yeah. Like that's at least there's some kind of connection, but still, it's like.
What do you think the likelihood is that AI, we think it's so stupid right now, but it actually like went full like Skynet already, and it's just pretending to be stupid, so we think it's not a threat because we're like, oh yeah, this is still too far off. Like,
yeah,
like it's actually like super intelligent, like, and
smart enough to like act dumb essentially.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be shocked, but I don't know. This is acting really dumb because after it says those three, and then it says, now, here are teams that actually have dinosaur mascots. And then it says Washington Nationals mascots, the Racing Presidents plus Screech the Bald Eagle. No dinosaur mascot currently. It's like, okay. So you literally just said, here are the teams that actually have one. And then just the first one you list, you say doesn't have one. Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
I do know the Rockies have a Triceratops as a mascot. The Colorado Rockies. Cool. Yeah.
I went to the Museum of the Rockies up in Montana about 5 years ago, and that's like the fossil bed where they found basically like 90% of all the Triceratops in the world, like the complete skeletons and stuff. It was really cool because like you kind of take that shit for granted a little bit because it's like it's like one of those top 3 dinosaurs that everyone knows is a Triceratops. Yeah. And it's like, well, they basically only know about them from this place, and to go into a place where it's like, wow, here's like 12 complete Triceratops skeletons. Like there can't be that many of those floating around,
No, 12. Yeah. That is pretty crazy. What about saber-toothed tigers? Would you throw them in the dinosaur discussion? No, I know ChatGPT would.
Like those are around like when people are around. Like those are dead like because people ate them all basically. Like talking about millions of years of different different phylums of creature. No, same phylum. No, same kingdom. I don't know. I don't remember. it's definitely different phylums because that's far enough down. I can't even think of the word. I don't know. What is the word? Where the organization system for
kingdom,
life.
phylum, class, order, family.
No, I know, but what is that called? Like that system. This is really bad.
Like the taxonomy?
Yeah, taxonomic
like rank
hierarchy.
Or something, or hierarchy. Yeah,
I don't know. Anyways,
I'll leave you guys and everyone with one more fun fact. Since I recently adopted a cat, we live on the 8th floor, and our windows don't have screens on them. I was like, can cats survive like a 8-story fall? Apparently, it's like better for like a cat to fall from like 10 stories than it is like to fall from like 5 stories, because they basically like turn into like a parachute at some point while they're falling. Like they spread their limbs out and they like slow their falling. But if they fall from like 5 or 6, it's too fast of a fall for them to realize. So fun fact there. I think 8th floor is like right on the border of like, it's cool. Not enough time.
It's called like the dead cat zone. There was a Radio Lab episode that I remember hearing about it.
Cool.
Where like I listened to that like years and years ago. It's like an old study that, like, from stories 1 to 3, they survive. And so you would think everything higher than that, they die basically. But it's actually, like there's actually a good chunk even higher. Like there's like a second group.
Yeah. Where they like at least have a chance, but it's not.
Yeah.
Well, better chance than like, like 4 to 7. Yeah. Hopefully we're getting some screens put in. So
cool.
But so anyways, appreciate everyone. I will be live again tomorrow evening doing a rookie mock. If anyone wants to join, please do it. And appreciate everyone. And I guess the next time we talk will be on the eve of the combine, which will be fun. And then after that, we can get to overreact to the combine. So, but yeah, appreciate everyone. Take care, Sean, Joseph, Kevin, Benjamin, and we will see you guys all. I'll see you tomorrow.